Okay, so today we're going to talk about song form. Song form is how a song or piece of music changes over time. And the music we listen to, Western music, which is, our music is primarily influenced by Europe and Africa. The music we listen to has sections in it. It's sectionally based. What does that mean? It means that there are periods of time in the song that sound different from other periods of time in the song. And when you return to that first period of time in the song, it's identifiable. You can remember these sections, or they at least instill something in you that is memorable. This is different than other musical forms that have been around the world. For example, African drumming, there are not clear sections in the song. They will drum and drum and drum, and to the untrained ear or unfamiliar ear, it might all start to sound the same after a while. It sounds more fluid, right? There's less clear sections. Same with the Australian didgeridoo, or even some of the ancient Chinese songs, right? So our music is very sectional, as well as as well as having those parts, right? So we got these parts, and then we got these clear sections. This is the beginning. This is the middle. Now we're going back to the beginning. This is the middle. Here's the end. Okay. This has been going on in European Western music really since the classical period. The classical period was when the idea of song form, or even in those cases symphony form, sonato allegro form they called it, became very important. Before that, in the period of Bach, in the Baroque period, someone like Bach their music is very flourishy and continues and goes and goes and goes and goes, and it's very hard to hear start and stop points. Okay? We had the idea of a cadence come in classical music, which is a period where the music would make a strong emphasis and stop, and then would start something, and you would hear those points. And it was mainly for dance, so the dancers would know when to prep again. So we've really become accustomed to that. We hear that. We hear verse, chorus, or we hear a bridge, or we hear an introduction part. Most listeners are not conscious of those pieces, right? But we are, because we're the musicians making the music. Okay? Does this sound weird to anybody? We're all pretty familiar with this, right? Okay. So most of the songs we listen to come in two different types of forms. AABA is the older pattern that we use, and the other one is ABAB. Now you see I have a C there I'll talk about in a second. AABA comes from the idea that if you do something and then you repeat it, it causes an expectation. Right? If I go ba, ba, you actually expect me to do it one more time, don't you? Yeah. If I just go ba, you don't necessarily do it. That repetition, just doing it that one time, causes a sense of wanting something else to happen. Okay? So everything you do in your composition with your pieces is going to be about setting expectations and either delivering on it or not delivering on it. Or maybe sort of delivering on it. But I'm going to give this person what they want. I'm not going to give them what they want. Right? Okay. So song form is one of the primary ways we do that. One of the primary ways we do that. Okay. And what they used to do in AABA form is they would sing a phrase, la-di-da-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. And then they would repeat it, la-di-da-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. Now you're going to get annoyed by the third time, so then I'm going to sing da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then I go back, la-di-da-di-da-di, la-di-da-di-da. Okay? I changed it that third time. Did I talk about the golden mean in this class? Golden mean? No. This pattern here of doing something once, doing something a second time, changing it the third time, and doing it the fourth time, you can hear the way I said that, right? Causes is a very comfortable pattern for humans for some reason. And what happens is the point of maximum displacement and discomfort is about 2/3 of the way through the event. So it applies in movies. The movie goes through, the bad guy looks like he's going to win, oh my God. But they manage to escape, right, and save the Eiffel Tower from being collapsed, and everybody's okay. Or he's at the airport, she's getting on the plane, they're never going to see each other again. And is he going to make it to the airplane? Oh my God, I don't know. And then, yes, he just makes it, barely. I mean, he jumps on the wheel and manages to climb in, right? Right? That point of maximum displacement seems to be most comfortable for us at about 2/3 of the way of the song. And then there's a rush that happens as he runs to get right at that 2/3 is where he's going to start running to the airplane, right? And that's going to build and build and build, and the point where he's jumping onto the wheel of the plane to climb up, and you're just like, your brain is simultaneously going, God, I hope he makes it, and there's no way this is real, is right when the song is building up for the drop. Right? And the drop is the conclusion, but we're back to something we're familiar with, right? When you hear the drop, it's giving you what you want. So it happens in art, in graphic design and photography. The idea is that when you take a picture, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the rule of thirds. Is anyone familiar with that? Okay. If you look on your phone, there's even a way to turn on the rule of thirds, and it'll give you a grid on your phone. And the better composition in photography, usually people are off by about 1/3. Their heads may be 1/3 the way over the picture, and then there's something counterbalancing them on their side. There's something about that not being totally centered that we like. Okay, we like things a little off. Architecture the same way. A well-designed building will have something a little kind of off-centered, about 2/3 the way or 1/3 the way off. Books, same thing. Movies, scripts, and songs. Okay, so that B is a very important thing. Okay. Another form that has come up that especially has become the dominant form now is this ABAB form, which means I do something for a while, and I do it again, and then I switch to something else, and I do that something else, and I go back to doing the first thing, and I do it again, and then I switch to something else, and I do something else. Okay. This is usually in our music the chorus and the verse. Okay, or the verse and the chorus. Sorry, the verse is usually the A section, and the chorus is the B section. Okay. And then we throw, and we just have to use the letter C here because we've already used up our A's and B's on the chorus and the verse. We use the C for the bridge. We still have that bridge in about the same place. Okay, right about 2 minutes is usually when the bridge is in the song. Okay, and then we come back with the chorus. So verse is the less memorable part of a song. It's the subordinate part of the song. It is quiet. It is usually storytelling. It is not as repetitive. Okay, usually different lyrical content's different. Often the melody is different. Often the rhythm is different and changed. Okay, there's usually less instruments, and it's lower usually. Okay, the chorus of a song is the memorable part of the song. It's the high, loud, synchronized part of the song. It is the "Who Let the Dogs Out" part, right? Who let the dogs out? Does anyone remember the verse in that song?
Yep.
You do?
Yes.
Wow. So you have a little too much time on your hands, my friend. Really?
Santa they used to say.
You're the first person that I've ever heard answer that question, yes. So what year was that? 2000?
Yeah, 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
Baja Man.
Yeah.
Baja Man.
So you had time on your hands at that time to learn that verse.
Well, that too, and I had a Santa that said it.
You had what?
I had a Santa that said it for like 10 years.
Yeah. That's really funny. So most people can't remember the verse to that song, and many songs that we know we don't remember the verses to, right? Because they're not memorable. That's the point in them. You want the verse to actually not be memorable, because you can't have your whole song be memorable. You have to have highlights and lowlights. Okay? You can't make a movie where every minute is tense, unless with Born Identity. That's about as close as you can get, right? They're pushing it right there. They're pushing it. And there might be some people who don't like that movie because it's constantly tense. It's very hard to have moments of tension if you haven't had moments of release and relaxation, right? So you have to give people what they want, let them chill for a while, and then you have to smack them in the face sometimes with the energy, right? And then you pull it back, okay? If you are masterful at your art, you're able to navigate those very comfortably. Okay? So a well-designed verse is really going to lead in and support this big chorus that you're going to have. And the chorus is the main part of the song. And what I want you guys to learn in your first song, your first assignment here, is how to make a chorus and a verse. How to make a dominant and a subdominant part of the song. Does that make sense? That's what our assignment's going to be. The bridge is the contrasting section of a song. Okay? It is the part that sounds different It's going to create that maximum displacement. And then in a lot of ways, the whole point of the song at that point is to take you back from this point of maximum displacement to the chorus. Back to what the person remembers, back to what they expect, either consciously or subconsciously. And you could decide how well you're going to take them back there. And that is every time when you go dancing, every time you're out there on the floor or something, and we go to that bridge and all the music stops and there's this drifty part, right? You know, everybody knows something's coming, right? Everybody knows something's coming. And I think I was telling you about the French movies, right, where they don't resolve at the end. They don't bring it back. So, you know, maybe there is a French DJ out there who's like, I'm just going to leave it right there and not bring you back. And it will cause discomfort, consciously or subconsciously in people, right? So everybody's waiting on that. Your journey back from the bridge to this chorus is the most exciting part of your song. It's one of the places to put the most energy. Getting to the first chorus, getting to that last one. Those are your two most important points in a song, where people are going to be like, that's awesome. Right? Verse refrain, what does that mean? Well, in these songs that go A-A-B-A, the verse will generally end up closing. And I can see I have some of that kind of showing here from the last class. The verse has a phrase, and then it ends that phrase, usually with the name of the song is right about here. And it's called the hook or the refrain. Okay? Hook or refrain. And then it'll go back and do the same thing again. A second verse with the hook or the refrain here, and then it goes to the bridge, which does something different, and then it goes back to the third verse. Okay? The refrain is usually just one line at the end of the song. It can be instrumental, it can be musical, or it can be lyrical. One of the most famous instrumental hook or refrains is wow now now, wow now now, wow now now. Anyone know what I just did? No, not quite. Same era. Does anyone know that hook? Jimi Hendrix, right? Purple Haze. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Wow now now, wow now now, wow now now. That's like the highlight of the song, right? That's the idea of a refrain. We're going to listen to Elvis' song here in a minute. What was the name? I can't help falling in love with you, right? That's the end of the phrase. That's the hook of the song, right? Okay. He doesn't have a chorus in that song. There's no "Who let the dogs out," right? Doesn't do that part in the Elvis song. Okay. So often before any of that happens, there's an introductory period of a song. It's called the intro, and sometimes there's an outro where at the very end of the song something changes. Be real careful of that one. It's rarely done well. And then sometimes between the verse and the chorus, in a verse-chorus song, very often the phrasing will go up and it goes into the chorus. Okay? And sometimes there's a transition period in between called the pre-chorus. And we're going to listen through a pre-chorus song. Okay. Questions? So if we have chorus, and we have verse, it usually is something like this. That makes sense? Verse is small. Hey, how am I making copies of these when I drag them, by the way? Right. I'll make them all just a little bit smaller here. Verse, chorus, verse, chorus. It should look pretty similar to that on Logic. You should be able to, anyone should be able to walk over to your thing and see right where your chorus is, because it's going to have more stuff in it, right? And then the bridge, very often shaped more like this. It's going to build up, and then usually there'll be one more chorus at the end. That make sense? Verse, chorus, chorus. This is how I want your songs to be structured. Okay? 90% of the songs we listen to. That takes about 30 seconds. Or if I were to average all the songs that we've heard, 30 seconds, 1 minute, right there. Then this happens, another 30 seconds, and then here we are at 2 minutes, and here we are at the end of the song. We've done it well. 3 minutes. Yes?
Would that dynamic really change if it was one of those like chorus verse songs?
You mean the verse refrain? So this is a verse chorus, or A B song. So I have, this is the A here, A. This would be B. Oops. I thought I could grab two things at once in PowerPoint. Come on. A, B, and then we're going to go to a C right here. This is C is the bridge, and then back to another B. Does that make sense, Louise? So when we say verse, chorus, song, we're going to say A, B. That's the easiest way to do it. The idea of this is that there is pretty strong contrast between those sections. You remember the chorus, you don't remember the verses, and the bridge is the most intense part of the song because it's so different. Why is this bridge able to be different? Well, because we've set this expectation up. We've said, I'm going to be quiet for a while, and then I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be quiet for a while, then I'm going to be loud. Then I'm going to get weird on you, right? And you were expecting me to get quiet again, but I got weird, right? Weird. This is the flavor of the song. This is like the coup de grace, or whatever they call it in French. Okay. Now, a AABA song will, interestingly enough, follow many of the same patterns, but instead of that being a chorus there, it's going to do the bridge here. And instead of this being a verse, it's going to be a verse slash refrain, like that. Okay. Bridge, and then we'll do another one here. And the song can often be shorter. Older songs are generally shorter. Jazz songs, what they do is they do this, A, B, A, and then they solo over atop that same pattern for a while, and then they come back with one more A or something like that in the end. Okay. We'll listen to an Elvis song, and it does this. Adds another bridge, verse, refrain right there. What you see visually here is kind of what the music sounds like. The AABA does not have the distinctions, the strong separation. It's more consistent. The bridge is the only place where it changes. The verse chorus song, the ABAB, will be much more small, big, different, big. Does that answer your question?
Well, it's kind of like, songs start off with the chorus, and then they bring in the verse. And then
Okay, most songs start off with a verse. There are songs that start out with the chorus. Maybe 5% of them. Okay, so it seems like it's a little trend that's coming back right now. Who Let the Dogs Out is an example of one that starts with a chorus. Okay, but for every song that starts with a chorus, I can find 9 or 10 that start with a verse first. Does that make sense? It's a much more common pattern. And that's because you don't want to blow your the exciting part of your song right in the beginning. You don't want to show all your cards right up front.
I've seen it like where they start with the chorus and then leads into the verse. Does that change the dynamic of it at all?
It does. Often what it'll do is make the song too loud. What was the song? There was one that did it. Oh my God, I can't even remember it. Well, Who Let the Dogs Out? The song's a little long. It gets a little long. Because they throw this other chorus right in the front, another 30 seconds in the front, and now my song's getting up towards 4 minutes by the time I get through it. Getting up towards 4 minutes. So if you're going to throw that chorus there, usually what will have to happen is you have to shorten the sections of your song and move through it a little faster to get through them all. Because everybody's still going to want this. Everybody still wants that. They want that change in there. So now if I'm going verse, chorus, verse, or I'm going chorus, verse, chorus, verse, people are like, really? Again? 3 times you're going to hit me with that? It gets a little hard. But then if you don't do this chorus and you go straight to the bridge, they're like, well, they're going to start to do this. And that's because we've heard this pattern subconsciously or consciously a million times. Whether we're walking through the store, it's on the radio or whatever, and we put all the songs we've heard in history into a hopper and we melt them down, we get to this average. It's the same thing as good looks. When people look, better looking people look more average. It's weird because we all like things that are different except for songs and looks and movies, right? There's things that we like things to be the same. And they've even found that looks really translate across different cultures and countries. We think the same people look good in most cultures, and it's usually that everything's about average, right? So we want a really good looking song. That's what we want. That's what I want for your first song, is to make a really good looking song, which means we have to learn what the averages are that people are most used to, so that when you guys start doing things that are different, it's a conscious decision. Because what you're wrestling with in people's subconscious is their expectations that they've heard from years and years of programming, cultural programming. So if I'm going to make that verse go longer than 30 seconds, 45, 50, I know that my listener's going, they don't know it, but they're going, eee. So then, if I'm going to do that, man, I better deliver something awesome. If you don't have something awesome to deliver, do it faster. Does that make sense? Do it faster. You just skip through it. Right? Yeah. Exactly, baby steps. If your song sucks, just make it shorter and people will like it better. They actually there have been studies on that they've done studies where time flies when you're having fun, right? And they've done studies on people when they do a task, and if they liked the task, they think that less time went by than if they didn't like the task. It felt like it took longer, right? They've flipped it. They have now had people do a task, and they make the clock go faster, and people think the task was more pleasant if the clock went faster.
What?
And if they slow down the clock, people think the task sucked.
That's crazy.
Weird, right? That applies to your song. Okay? Justin Timberlake, didn't do that in his first songs when he became big. He's an extremely talented singer. He's ridiculously good looking. And he's got a great voice, right? So he's got these things working for him that are helping him out on the front end. But his first songs, I don't know what his first big songs were, but they were, I can guarantee you, they were kind of like this. Who's that? I can't feel my face. Who sings that? The Weeknd, right? So someone was like, well, what about the song of The Weeknd? I'm like, I went to play it, and it wasn't very clear form like this, right? Big song. But then I'm like, The Weeknd, what else did they sing? And I'm like, I know. Like, I have face. I'm like, oh, yeah. That song that goes like this, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, that one? Yeah. In 3 minutes? Yeah. So your first hit is going to be here. Okay. This is the one where you want to grab someone. This is where you need to grab someone's attention. You know, whether it's the club player or the promoter for the festival or whatever, they won't even know this stuff. They won't know this. But they'll like your song if it's good. Okay. So, now we're going to move into a couple songs to listen to. Oops, I pressed the wrong button there. How do I add a new slide? Okay. So what I'd like you guys to do is get out a piece of paper, and we are going to write the numbers 1 through, we'll just do this, 1, 2, actually, you know what, I'm going to do it like this. So we're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here we're going to write the time, and here we're going to write the section. And I'm going to go back now to the home page, and we're going to go to the YouTube playlist on song form right here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just open that playlist on its own. I'm going to play through some songs, and what I'd like you to do is write in the times when you hear something happen, and then what section you think that is. Remembering in the back of your mind that we're going to have these verse, chorus things going on, or we're going to have these verse, refrain things going on. Okay? This should be pretty easy for this class. I think what I'm going to try to do is go through about 3 examples, and I think you guys will have it. If not, we'll keep working on it. Okay? So these are your sections, just so you can see those and refer to them. And sorry, I'm just dealing with a little bit of room on the screen here. Let's start with something real straightforward. Well, let's do this one. Sorry, now we got to get sound. Okay, so here's the sections over here on the left. And sorry, you're writing the time that's right here. Okay. Keep disappearing. Did you guys hear the sections? What's that? Yeah. What was this, a verse chorus or verse refrain song? Chorus, and how did the chorus go? Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire, right? Come on, baby, light my fire. How did the verse go? A little hard to remember, right? A little hard to remember. Okay, so we went verse, chorus, verse, chorus. What do we have before the first verse? A little introductory section, and then what do we have after the second chorus? A bridge, which in rock music is often a solo, right? In this case, a keyboard solo, right? Which is what's rare about that. Okay, let's see if we can get those times on that again. We'll play it through it real quick. One of the reasons I use this song is it goes fast. Notice this. I want you to notice this. How long is this song?
7 minutes.
7 minutes. And yet, to become a #1 hit, I believe this was #1. Yes, this was #1. 7 minutes, which means people like your audience that you guys want to be out there going woo to your music and getting #1 in the charts at the same time, right? Okay. Very few people could do that. Why could they do that? They knew how to write a pop song and they knew how to stretch it out and jam. Both, right? Very talented band. If Jim Morrison hadn't died, they would likely still be performing. And Ray Manzarek and Robbie Krieger I was telling you about, I mean, they were just working with Skrillex, putting out some EDM stuff. So they're like still hip dudes, you know. Then Ray Manzarek died, unfortunately. So I want you to emulate that idea. Does that make sense? That's why I'm pushing you so hard in this first one to not do something weird. I want you to do something that everyone expects and is going to pay you money for, and then you get your weird parts in it on the side when no one's looking. Right? Here we go again. Listen how when we went to that section, the parts changed. The keyboard part changed, the bass part changed, the drums changed to help identify the section. Then they change again. A lot more cymbal, organs busier. That was all they needed right there. That was the hit. That was what made that band become world famous. 1 minute and 10 seconds. Got it? It's crazy, right? Yeah, I wish all of us could do that. I wish that for all of us. So what do we have for times on this? What was the first time we had? Intro. So we're at, I want you to write it like that, 0, 0. Intro, right? And then what do we have next? We had at
Verse at
10 seconds. Verse. Okay. And then when did we have the first chorus? 25 seconds to the first chorus, okay? So this song is moving fast. They gave you, not only are the sections clear and catchy, they're also moving through them fast. I want this song to demonstrate to you, you can go verse, chorus, very quickly, and then do whatever you want in that bridge. Right? Whatever you want in that bridge. Yeah, and we got back to the verse by what time?
38.
It's one of the fastest songs. I think it is the fastest song that I know. Actually, no, they have another one that's faster. Break on through to the other side. They're in the chorus by 15 seconds, I think, in that song. Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide. Break on through to the other side. Bam. Just right into it. Yep. And we got to the next chorus by what time? 52. So within 1 minute, we've gotten through the whole song. And now we get to the solo, right? Is it 105 or something?
I got 107.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Okay, if this was hard for you, you have some work to do. Everyone in this class needs to be able to hear sections quickly and easily. Okay, so I want you to be going through the songs, especially in this playlist, and listening for the sections. And if that's hard for you, then we need to work together more. Some of you, raise your hand if this was really easy for you. Okay, good. Okay, that's just about everybody. So good. That's what I want to hear. So let me just go through 2 more songs then. I want to throw the other 2 patterns at you. I think then, since you are rocking and rolling so well, I'm going to give you another really fast-moving song because I want you to get the idea that fast-moving and money can work together very, very, very well. See if you can hear the sections in this song. Okay. In fact, the song could be over right there in 1 minute. The whole song could be done. What form was that song? A-A-B-A. What was the hook or the refrain of that song? Tomorrow will rain, I'll follow the sun. Was the title of the song? Did he go, I'll follow the sun, I'll follow the sun? No, didn't do that, right? Didn't repeat that over and over, so it's not a chorus. It's just the connection. Could you hear how there was less clarity in those sections? It was more dependent on the vocal phrasing and the words to change, right? So AABA traditionally has less contrast in it, like someone, I think Luis or someone was saying, right? It's a smoother sound, okay? Do you even know who the number 2 selling artist of the 21st century is? Yeah. Eminem, Beatles. Yeah. Eminem, 21st century. This century, the Beatles are the second top selling artist. And Eminem and the Beatles are so much ahead of anyone else, it's not even funny. Not even funny. Like twice what anyone else is. So in the 20th century, yes. Yeah. But he's still quite a bit behind the Beatles and Elvis, right? So it goes Beatles, Elvis, then I think either Michael Jackson or Madonna. Somewhere they're both in there. He bought the songwriting rights to some of that, and we'll get into that. We'll talk about business and music a little bit. Yeah. So.
Elvis too. He's got Elvis.
Yep.
Bought Elvis.
Yep. So this is not a bad group of people to be looking at for how to make money and sustain it, right? To have long-term influence. Long-term influence. Okay. So do we have the times? Do we need to listen to it again, or can we put in times? Raise your hand if you want to hear it again. Yeah. Okay. It's a fast. This is the fastest one. The reason I have these in there is they're really fast-moving songs. What section are we in? Contrasting, right? And we're back, right? So very little changed instrumentally. It's just what changed is the harmony, the pitch, the harmony, the harmonic setup, the music theory changed in that song. The class you guys should take with this class or after this class is the music theory class. That's the next class you should take. Okay, the top students from last fall are in it right now, and I was just listening to them singing there today. They sounded great, singing the fifths and stuff. All that. Okay. So what do we have to begin? We had a little intro, and then when did we start the verse?
4 seconds.
4 seconds, right? Let's get right into the song. Verse. Now, what I'd like you to do when I have one of these on a quiz for you is to write verse, refrain. Because the refrain, I'll follow the sun, is not its own section. It doesn't get its own row. Okay? You have to get into the refrain right there at the beginning. Sorry, attached to the verse in that section. That make sense? Then we went to the next one, which was at what time? 14. And we did another one, right? Another verse refrain. And then 25. Bridge. And we're back to the verse refrain by what time?
Like 50. Yeah. 51.
And what they actually do there is go to another bridge and another verse refrain to wrap it out. So it ends up looking like this structure here. It has another bridge verse. Okay. The guy who wrote that has written more number one hits than anyone. Paul McCartney, right? He's written substantially more than anyone. What's that? Yeah, I mean, he's written 32 or 3 or 4 number one hits, right? Had one of the biggest grossing concerts of the year last year. So, I mean, this is a good dude to be like, what is he doing? How does he do that, right?
Just put his name on stuff and he'll just make money.
I know. He's just got whatever. All right. Question. Oh, I want to do one more then. Let's do one more. Since it's sitting right here. So let's go ahead and just get that right back where we had it.
Honestly thought that was
What do you guys want to do today?
Do you want to crush them off?
Nice.
Okay, so I'm going to listen through and see if you can get the sections on this song. Okay. This one's going to be slower moving, much slower moving song.
Chill out,
What section are we in right here? Pre-chorus, right? It's between that verse and the chorus. It's a transition period to the chorus. And the chorus, right? Hell of a chorus in this song. 16 years old when she wrote this, I think. Where's she going to go now? Bridge. Every time. I want you to never, ever make a bridge like this. This is the best chorus, one of the best choruses I think has ever been written. This is one of the worst bridges I've ever heard. Okay? Then she goes back to another verse. She goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. That was the bridge right there, yeah. It's a contrasting section, but it wasn't very contrasting. It was mainly just the verse with her going, oh, 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 over it. I think that song would have been so much better if she could have done something really interesting to bring us back to that chorus again. That's so powerful, right? Does anyone need to hear it again to hear those sections, or should we type them in? We are rocking and rolling. Okay, so song started at what time? And was there an intro? Yes. Okay, and then we started the first verse at what time?
20.
Next section started at?
33.
That sound right? Let's do pre-chorus for pre-chorus. And we went into a chorus at?
Like 110.
Thank you. Chorus, and we went back to the verse at? 37. Slow, right? Normally we get back to the second verse by a minute. This song's moving much slower. You need to be able to hear these things in songs. If you go to this playlist I have here, you will see a collection of songs. Sorry. A collection of songs here that have interesting combinations of verses and choruses and pre-choruses and that sort of thing that are a little bit different. Okay, if you can go and analyze all the songs in that playlist and be familiar with them and feel in control of that, you are very much in control of song form. Does that make sense? So if this is a little challenging for you, I want you to go there and you can you can send me, hey, I did Loser. I think he's going to the chorus at this point or whatever. Okay, make sense? So I picked these songs for a reason. Well, except for Kesha, just because that's my favorite artist. But other than that, you can even, if you want, challenge yourself with some of the classical ones if you want to try. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, and there's the Who Lets the Dogs Out. It made the cut, right?
Wait, did I see Radioactive? Is that the one with Kendrick Lamar? No.
No, it's the old one.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Okay. So what does this mean? What does this mean for you guys composing this first assignment? And like I said, I understand there are songs that are 2 minutes out there. There are songs that are 7. One of my favorite songs is 17 minutes long. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly. The best songs ever written. Awesome drum solo and all that stuff. And yet, even in In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, 17-minute song, they come out and they go verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Okay, we're going to solo for a while, like for a really long time. And then we'll get back to you. And when we get back and I deliver that chorus back to you, you're going to be really happy because you're going to remember it. Right? Okay. So if you guys want to do this long, drawn-out stuff, save it for a later assignment. This first assignment, what I want you guys to do is in 3 minutes, I want you to be able to make your point. I want you to come out. Actually, I want you to make your point in the first minute, like the Doors were able to, right? They come in with a verse and a chorus. And then you can do another verse and a chorus. And then if you can, give us a really interesting bridge to bring us back to that chorus again. Okay? I want you to keep it very simple and straight. Your song can be 3 minutes and 20 seconds or shorter. If you can do this all in a minute and a half or 2, awesome. I'd love to see it. Okay? Your third song in this class, you get to go in and make it much longer. Okay? But I can tell you last fall, when any song hit 4 minutes, we all put our hands up and said we're done listening, and we stopped it. We stopped listening. The human attention span is about 15 seconds for something interesting. Then something needs to change in about 30 seconds. It needs to change again in about a minute, and it needs to be over at 3 minutes. It's about why? Because we've been programmed that way, and whatever, physiologically is the way we're built. Okay, if you can't make your point in 3 minutes, then you're not going to make it as a songwriter, right? A composer. Okay. So let us take a look at what that means for us. This song would be a great model for you. It's a little long. It's a little long. This song is going to have a verse and a chorus. It's going to have, I think, maybe 4 or 5 loops at most in the whole darn song. Okay? And has made Stevie Aoki millions of dollars, right? I think any of us in this room could have done this, which sometimes standing up here gets really frustrating. I'm like, why don't I go home and just start writing music again? I don't know what it is, why. It's not talent, that's for sure. You know what I mean? Some of it is, but there's something about being able to just get it done and move on quickly or something. I don't know what it is. Keeping it simple. And I can guarantee you the mistake all of us are going to make in this class is making our songs too complex. So listen how simple this is. See if you can hear the loops that are going on in there. And if you were to picture it in Logic, what would it look like? How many parts are going on once in this song, right? Which parts are playing right now? We got the rhythm. There's a little bit, it's hard to even call that bass. It's almost percussive, right? And we have this, that's it. How many parts going right now? Oh, the chorus of the song, 2 parts. A little fill, right back into it, and adds a little tss, that's it, right? Another fill, and adds a half beat, and does the whole dang thing for another 16 bars, right? It's ridiculous, right? Is it memorable? This will be going through your head. It just keeps doing it, right? I think this might have been a little long here. I might have cut at that point, but these long sweeping things I want to get into more later, right? So this part is sort of a verse, but it's almost a bridge, right? He took so long to get through that chorus. It's kind of a bridge chorus. So this is the second loop. So he's got that loop and the dun 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 dun, and the rest is rhythm, right? Can anyone hear the triplets there? Good. If you can hear those triplets, you're doing awesome. Dot 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 dot. 3s against 4. It's brought in a hi-hat going fast, right? 16ths. Where's the song going to go? And now if he's French, he would stop the song right there, right? What do you want? You can feel it, right? Can you feel it in your, right here? You should feel it, right? This is what I want this is how I want you to be manipulating people on the dance floor with the headphones on, right? I mean, man, we are so, there's tension. I hope you guys can feel it. It's tense. We did not give ourselves what we want until we hit this, right? Okay. And if you can feel, your body psychologically actually relaxes into that, right? We gave it what it wants, okay? You can control people on the dance floor with that, right? Little offbeat hi-hat to double the length of it, right? Does that make sense to everybody? So what I want you to do is take that Light My Fire song and this one and put those 2 things together, because we don't have lyrics, right? We're not working with the lyrics in this first song. But dang, man, right? I have driven down, even in my old age, with that kind of cranked up and the windows cracked just a little bit because I don't want anyone to really know that I want them to know that I'm listening to that song. You know? It's a great song, right? It's great. No shame, that's right. In fact, the first day I had that song, I played it over and over and over the whole night. She didn't go out on another date with me, but I really enjoyed the song. Okay, second one I'm going to show you. That I think we can mimic too. Okay. How does the chorus of this song go? Sorry, someone give me the chorus to this song?
Oh, yeah, it's just the music, right? It's not the.
How does it go? Right? It's a loop. It goes over and over. There are loops that sound like that in GarageBand that you could make your chorus from. Okay? Loops that sound like that. When you listen through this one, I want you to listen for the parts. So Boldness was really simple. We had mainly rhythm, and then he had a bass part, bass mid-range, bass accompaniment part as this chorus. That was it. And he just added some rhythmic stuff, and then some long sweeps and some lows now and then, right? And we're going to get into those long sweeps a little later. It allows us to make interest without having to change things up. And it's getting really in right now. I don't know if you guys have been listening recently with the pitch change ones. Just goes back up. I'm like, really? You're just going to crank the pitch back up for another minute now, and then go back down again. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, I really like it. I'm going to keep listening. It's like there's something interesting about that. Yeah, I know. And because our ears are very accustomed to change, right? We don't hear the projector in this room unless I say, listen to the projector. Oh, it's pretty loud. We all blocked it out because it is staying constant. Something that changes is going to catch our ear. Oh, saber-toothed tiger, right? I want to hear that thing coming. I don't care about the river or the wind in the trees, right? I'm safe from those things. So when there's something subtly changing over time, it holds our ear, right? And so what's happening in a lot of the music now is we have these loops, and because none of us have gone to school and taken theory, we don't know how to make melodies anymore. So we have these long, sweeping, slow, changing things to keep people's ears attached. My house, I got a new house. I was very excited about it, and I moved in and learned that it was near the LA flight path. And it's taken me a while to figure out why that's so annoying. And what's so annoying isn't the sound of the plane, like that. It's when they go, that slight pitch change, my ear cannot block it out. My ear is not getting used to it. It still hears it. Like, we're designed to hear baby whining, you know, something changing, you know, it has a little pitch in it. So we're going to really explore that in this class of ways to use subtle changes over time to get more mileage. So you're going to start writing shorter songs, and then we're going to do that to get longer songs. You're going to hear in this song, you're going to hear rhythm, bass, accompaniment, and lead. Okay? There's going to be a lead voice, and there's going to be the lead synth. They will not play at the same time. We're going to interchange those two. You will hear how bad piano mixes with other instruments. So he has a piano sound that will play, and then you will notice that he doesn't play it when it's in the chorus of the song. He'll drop that out. Okay? You'll hear a bass part moving around very distinctly underneath it, and you'll hear the rhythm part very clear from that. Very clear pieces in the song. This song has extremely clear sections and extremely clear parts that I'm hoping all of you, the first time through, can hear all of those things. Okay? I would love it so when the first time you hear a song, you've already got it mapped out in your mind. Oh, that one verse, chorus, this. The chorus was actually instrumental in this one. It took this long to go in. It's a 4-minute long song. It's a little too long. It's a little long. It's pushing it. What's that?
I remember when this song came out. I loved it.
Yeah.
Reminds me of EDC.
This great. Yeah, I'll bet there's some good memories with this one then.
Oh, yeah.
I have some good ones with this song too. I was in Peru dancing on a floor with a alpaca hat on, sweating. Here's the introduction. Feel free to write the times down if you want or don't. 2 parts here, right? Accompaniment, rhythm.
I feel so close to you right now. It's a force field. I wear my heart upon
We are not going to be singing this, but maybe we can mimic this sort of phrasing, right, in our songs. Little clips that pause. Space, space, right? Space. Activity.
No stopping us right now. I feel so close to you.
You should know there's no bass. You should have heard there was no bass. Now there's nothing else except for the lead, right? Listen for the piano, listen for the bass, listen for the drums as they come in. Great pre-chorus here, right? Basically. And the beat is what kicks it in. The piano is not there. The piano would sound bad right now. It would be clashing. I think he managed to squeeze it in later, but... Oh, let's do it again. I think he should have put a fill in there or some sort of extra thing like Stevie Aoki did here to make this a little more interesting. It's stretching. It's a little long right here, right? Piano comes back in, hearing it? We're interchanging the voice and that synth. Those are the two lead sounds we're going to interchange between verse and chorus in this song.
There's no stopping us right now. I feel so close to you right now.
Right back into it, right? He changed up that pre-chorus a little bit this time, right? He didn't drop it out quite as far. I can't remember if he does a bridge in this song. I haven't listened to it for a while. Yeah, he does.
There's no stopping us right now.
Just looping the last part of one of the phrases. You hear that? Looping the last part of one of the phrases. That's a cheap, easy way to get you some mileage on something, right? Drop the drums out, drop the bass out. We just got the piano. And a clap. We're basically at the beginning of the song, the intro of the song, right? I bet she's going to skip a verse and just go right to the chorus. That's what I do. Yeah, that's what he does. He goes right to it. Right? A, B, C, B. Questions?
The C part was just like an A part minus the drums and the bass.
And the intro was that, right? Yeah, yeah. So you're a lot of the times your B or your C part, your bridge will be either something that you hinted at in the introduction or in your pre-chorus part. You can pull those. If it's your verse, that's what Avril Lavigne did. If it's your verse, you got to be careful that you're actually doing something interesting and different there. Okay. So his intro and his verse were kind of the same. So, but his bridge didn't have any voice in it. He did have that other loop, the cheap, cheesy choral pad, right? Doing that high note. So I think those are two songs that I would strongly advise you to model what you're doing after, in terms of their simplicity, right? And how they've structured that with very few loops. Okay. So he had the rhythm stuff going on. He had that bass, the piano, his singing, and then the sound. So he had basically 5 loops going. Okay. That make sense? Huh? Yeah, yeah. It should. What I would love for you to do right now, I would love for you to feel a little anger right now. I would like you to be frustrated at me, like really. He's making us only do this, and I'd like you to be a little frustrated at Calvin Harris and Stevie Aoki, because I want you to say, really, I could have done that. Really, that's all they did, right?
They just did it.
They just, I know. So I want you guys to do that. I don't want you to get in here. Don't get all fancy on me in this first song. Get good on me, right? And you'll hear it. Like, you'll be in here, and we'll pull the headphones out of one, and someone will play something, and everyone will go, what? And they go, that was cool. And just like, stay with that. Copy and paste that again. If it was cool that first time, it'll be cool the second time. It's only the third time you have to change it. For some reason. All right, so that's basically my lecture on song form. Any questions before we wrap that up and take a little break? Yeah, Brian. Yep. Mario.
So it goes A, B, A, B, C, B.
That's what I want you guys to do.
Would you repeat that if the song were to be longer? So if you want to make it longer? You
If you want to make the song longer than that, I just suggest stretching B way out. I'm C, stretching C way out. So what I'm asking you guys to do is go 16 bars of A, 16 bars of B. Copy and paste those 16 bars. Now, those 32 bars, copy and paste them. You're at 64 bars. Maybe add a symbol or one or two things or a fill in the second part. And that's it. Don't screw up your second verse and make it not sound like your first verse. Okay, that happened a lot last semester. And then do something funky with the bridge, and then copy and paste the chorus and put it at the end. That's your first song. No, the intro is usually before the verse. Now, what's hard for us is because we don't have singing going on in this first song. Your introduction is probably going to blend into your verse, which is why I'm not asking for an intro. I'm just asking for an A section, B, A, B, C, B. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think your verse and intro and your pre-chorus are going to be kind of a smooth glide up to that chorus. So I'd like you to take, basically you take 16 bars to get to your chorus, kind of like the Steve Aoki, right? It wasn't so much a verse as it was a thing. Okay. So 16, 16, 16, 16 probably for each section. And that, if you do it at 120 beats per minute, is going to be right about 3 minutes. Right about 3 minutes. Okay. It's all averaged out. It's all averaged out. Other questions? Okay. So we're going to take a break, and what time do we get out of here? 2, yeah. So if you guys want to take a little break, I am going to start in with some techniques in Logic in a little bit to show you how to take 4 bars and turn it into 16 cheap and easy, and then how to take 16 and turn it into 32 if you need to. So, but I need a little break. So do whatever you like, and I'll probably start back up probably at 1:25, 1:30, somewhere there.